Hey, welcome back. Now we're going to continue in our How to Feel Worthy of the Promise video series. Now this is part four, and in part four, it's all about healing that rejection wound. Right? For some of you, you have been rejected by your spouse. In this love story, and depending on how the rejection happened, that is one of the reasons why you might find yourself feeling unworthy or even not good enough for the promise because whenever you have been rejected by the one who God has chosen for you, and excuse me, you see your spouse off with counterfeit after counterfeit after counterfeit, and maybe for you, your spouse, keep telling you all of what's wrong with you, well, you need to do this, you need to work on that, right? They got a whole list of things that they're telling you to work on, but yet when you see them with the counterfeit, they have no list for them. They just accept them because they gotta, might have a nice body, right? That's the only thing they check off and look for, right? And this could put you in a position where you're feeling like, well, what's wrong with me? Why I got to do all of this? Why I got to work on all these things? But yet this counterfeit, they just with them, right? Here's the thing, excuse me. Understand the power of projection, okay? Because what is happening when you are in this particular situation is that it's not that you're not good enough. It's not that you have to do all of this work, right? Just to, meet your spouse's standard. It's none of this. Okay. It's the fact that your spouse know they are not ready. They're the ones who feel not good enough for the promise. They're the ones when they are in your space feel intimidated, insecure about themselves, right? They're the ones, right, who need to do all the work. Okay? It's projection. Okay? And so understand that you are good enough for the promise. You are good enough. Now, do we have some work that needs to be done? Of course we all do, right? But never allow anyone, including your spouse, to put you in a position where you are now questioning your worth, where you are now feeling less than. Because God called you. He chose you for such a time as this. He chose you for your partner. God said you are good enough. You are the right one. And he said stand for your God ordained marriage. Okay. And so this is what you have to stand on. And in the meantime, you have to help yourself to understand your self-worth. You have to help yourself see and know without a shadow of a doubt that you are good enough. Period. Simply the way how you are. Okay? I'm serious. And this is tied to that rejection wound, right? Rejection is redirection. Rejection is protection. Rejection can also mean not now. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare myself and get ready for this promise. I'm not gonna stay, where my value isn't being perceived or received, right? Because this is what's going on. Whenever your spouse reject you, it is because they don't see your value. It is because God has hidden you from your spouse because the heart is wrong. And when God changed the heart, when God purged out of their heart that hate and hurt out of their heart, then their eyes will be open to you. Then they will have eyes to see you as their spouse. But in the meantime, I need you to get your confidence up. I need you to tell yourself, I am worthy. I am good enough. I am the right one. I am the one. I need you to get your worth from the Lord and not from your what your spouse is saying or how your spouse is making you feel. Because all of these things are false. Okay? We get our worth from God. God said you are worthy. He said you're valuable. You're priceless. He called you the apple of his eye, his most precious prized possession. He said you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are his works. Okay? God see you how he see himself. Wonderful, creative, magnificent, marvelous. Okay? Come on now. Incredible, outstanding. This is how he sees you. And so it's all about how do I align my thoughts with God's thoughts? How do I begin to see myself how God see me? Right? This is where God wants your focus at. Take your focus off of what your prodigal spouse has said to you or about you. Take your focus off of what the enemy is saying about you and all the things you need to work on, and put your focus back on God. What does God say about you? What are God's thoughts about you? Who did God say you are? This is what you are to be speaking out loud over yourself each and every day. All right. So that is it. I am Tequila Coleman. Know that you are worthy of the promise. You are good enough. And I need you to stand in your value.